Welcome to TarantulasDreamTV. You are watching a previously recorded broadcast. Tune in every Monday and Wednesday from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. on Instagram at TarantulasDreamTV for new episodes. And remember, it is a weird, weird world.
So, what I think is going on here and what I think is happening is I believe that the coronavirus, which the President of the United States and many doctors have said is no more serious than the flu, is the cover to put the country into lockdown, just like Italy is in lockdown, to possibly declare martial law, get people off the streets, keep them in their homes so they're safe. So when the military and the National Guard sweeps in and conducts these mass arrests, it is done in a manner where people are kept safe. So, Tom Hanks. So President Trump gave his address tonight, and literally less than 10 minutes after he finished his address, Tom Hanks announced that him and his wife, Rita Wilson, have the coronavirus. But I don't believe for one second that Tom Hanks has the coronavirus. And if you've been following my YouTube channel, you know that Tom Hanks is not only a pedophile who has been accused publicly by some of his victims, including Sarah Ashcraft, who publicly accused him 2 years ago now of raping her, which he's never denied. He actively has been running a child sex trafficking ring on his Instagram and Twitter pages.
It is intended for the entertainment and instruction of broad-minded adults only, and should not be played to or sold to minors under any circumstances whatsoever. Thank you.
Broadcasting from the floating pie pan in the sky at Groom Lake Analog Recordings. Welcome to Tarantulas Dream TV. Now here's your host, Samba.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another broadcast of Tarantulas Dream TV. I am your host,
Samba.
and tonight we're going to be doing a little interview here with a unknown conspiracy theory. I wouldn't say expert; they're just a fan or an enthusiast of conspiracy theories. So, thank you all for tuning in and getting ready for the fun tonight. Phone number for the show is 520-704-7820. If you'd like to call in at 9:30, I'm opening up the phone lines, open lines. So if you have any questions for me or my guest, that is the time to do it. So please save all your questions for 9:30, and we'll get into it. 520-704-7820. I hope everyone's doing well out there, doing fine. Coronavirus is still out there doing its thing. So please, I hope everyone is looking out for each other and looking out for yourselves. I mean, at this point, all we have is each other. So before I get into the glorious meat of the night, I do have a little article here. This is from NPR.org. Early Oxford AstraZeneca coronavirus vaccine data encouraging, scientists say. An experimental coronavirus vaccine triggered an immune response against COVID-19 in study participants, and it has only minor side effects, according to new data published in the medical journal The Lancet. The vaccine, called AZD1222 for now, is being developed by Oxford University and AstraZeneca. It uses uses a different harmless virus to deliver biological instructions for how to fight off the coronavirus. According to a phase 1, phase 2 study of more than 1,000 patients, the vaccine triggered 2 immune responses, an increase in antibodies and a T-cell response. This, scientists said, is a good sign. So far, everything we've seen has been encouraging, said Naor Barzeev, Deputy Director of the International Vaccine Access Center at Johns Hopkins University. He was not involved with the study, and he said there have not been any severe reactions. So very good news for this vaccine candidate. That is, making its way. I hear reports that potentially by September, October, with the fact that they've already been able to upscale production of it, it could be ready for at least frontline workers and those who are most severely affected with coronavirus. We might be able to get those out to people that soon, but for the public at large, potentially beginning of 2021. So this is right around the timeline that I think a lot of companies were saying they'd have a vaccine available. Having said that, this is the fastest vaccine has been, created and tested. So, there's already going to be a lot of people who don't want to take it based on that alone. So I'm hoping that there's going to be a big media push to get people to take this vaccine, because I think it is true we are not getting out of this COVID scenario, this nightmare, until people are vaccinated and we can kind of get on the right path to getting back to what we like to do, being able to see people and hanging out with family and friends. So good news with that. Tonight we are talking conspiracy theories. We are talking their effects on society, and I do have a guest on the phone. I'm going to get them right now. They are, like I said, they are a conspiracy enthusiast. They again, I wouldn't call them an expert or anything, but they definitely have a lot to say about conspiracy theories. So I'm hoping that they're still on the phone. Hello, caller. Are you still on the phone?
I am. Hello.
Hello. So I understand you'd like us to call you Tristan, but that is not your real name, correct?
Yeah, I would like you to call me Tristan.
All right. Well, I threw up a sort of a screenshot of a picture that you sent over to kind of help mask your identity. I don't believe this is your actual identity. So for those on the stream, this is just picture this person on the phone. But this is just it's a ruse to cover for their safety, for their well-being. So please, everyone, welcome Tristan to the show. How are you doing tonight? And I'm saying Tristan with air quotes. How are you doing, Tristan?
Oh, I'm doing very well, and thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be on your show tonight. I'm a big fan.
Wow, your voice just dropped, I would say, three octaves there in a second. So that's very impressive already in and of itself. Did I hear your voice change again?
Sorry about that.
Oh, no problem. I whatever you need to do to maintain your safety, I am on board. So
just kind of a wild night tonight.
Wild night? Why do you say it's a wild night?
Well, I'm just sitting out here on the back porch and feeling a nice breeze on poolside.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I do appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to do the interview with us. Now, what I want to do is, before we get into the topic tonight, I would like to read the comments that are coming in, because people like to comment and leave questions, or just let their voices be heard. So let's see. Tonight we have the Blasted Man. Hello, Blasted Man. Old Adam Man. It's Hammer. Yes, it's Hammer. Let's say Spilt _love. Oh, a thumbs up. Hello, Spilt _love. Haven't seen you on the show yet. Celia, yeah, I'm scared about that aspect of a new vaccine. What could be the effects? Yes, the vaccine being so quick to release and testing, the ongoing side effects are unknown. But having said that, this particular vaccine coming out of Oxford is actually just a modification of an older vaccine that they were already testing. So the idea is that potentially side effects would be minimal because this is already a tested vaccine in regards to the method of its production. So hopefully that maintains, hopefully that maintains and we don't have any crazy side effects. Let's see. Las Muletas. Hey, Celio. Hello, Las. Yes, Las Muletas. Old Adaman, pitch shifting shapeshifter. Apparently, Old Adaman on the chat thinks you potentially might be a pitch shifting shapeshifter. Anything you'd like to say about that?
Oh, I mean, I guess anything is possible.
All right. Well, there you have it. Tristan potentially might be a shape-shifting alien or a pitch-shifting shapeshifter, Old Adaman. Trial and Error Collective. Tristan sounds hot.
I have heard stories about shapeshifters and reptilians. I didn't realize that they were shapeshifters until, like, hitting puberty or getting to, like, a certain age.
Oh, wow.
So it's not completely unprecedented in terms of, the stories that are out there.
Okay. Well, that very, very good to know. Thank you for that that little bit of knowledge. And then Quiverlip says helium and whippets. Nice. All right. So apparently you sound like you've done a lot of helium and or whippets. And real quick, Spilt Love says hot voice. Who could he be? Apparently. All right. Well, apparently you have a lot of fans on the chat tonight. At least 2 who think you sound hot. So already we're ahead of the curve in regards to being appealing to the listeners.
Well, that's very nice of them to say.
Yes. So my first question to you, Tristan, if you'd be so kind, is to give the audience a little bit of a background in conspiracy theory, at least in regards to your interest in it, or I guess more specifically, what was some of the first kind of your first exposures to conspiracy theory? Maybe what was that conspiracy theory, and do you believe in conspiracy theory?
Sure. Yeah. Well, I guess it might be go all the way back to when I was like a little kid. My mom was somewhat of a conspiracy theorist. I'm not sure if she would self-identify as one, but a lot of the choices that she made in raising me and my brother, I think you could kind of contribute to believing that the world was kind of out to get us in various ways. And she was, I guess, like a lot of people in the early 90s, obsessed with the X-Files, and we watched the X-Files all the time. And that was maybe my first exposure to like the ideas that the government is hiding secrets and that there are, those kinds of conspiracies. And I also think, like, around that time, with the popularity of the X-Files, there were a lot of TV specials about conspiracy theories, a lot of UFO specials, and things like that. And I used to love to watch them. And, when I was a little kid, I remember being so afraid of UFOs and aliens. I would have nightmares about them. But that fear, like, later turned into just, fascination. And so it's just always been something that's captured my imagination.
Sure.
So. Yeah. And then later on in life, I guess as an adult, I started getting into more serious conspiracy theories after a friend lent me a David Icke book.
Yeah.
Yeah, he lent me The Biggest Secret. I read that in, I want to say 2011.
Okay.
And I had never heard of David Icke before. I didn't know anything about him or really about, like, the reptilian theories. But I read that book, and I read it while on the road, on like a tour playing music, and going to like a lot of places around the country that were being talked about in the book. And I just remember it affected the way I was like looking at the world.
Okay.
Like, just, like noticing, like symbols that may or may not have been there. And
Mm-hmm.
so, and then just, with like YouTube, I just had a couple of years there where I would just go down YouTube rabbit holes about, all sorts of different conspiracies. So
yeah, I would say
I haven't really been that into it the past few years.
You haven't been into it. Okay.
I haven't. I kind of reached a point to where I realized that I just needed to kind of step away from them because they, I think, can have a pretty negative effect on a lot of things. So I just kind of had to step away.
Sure. Yeah, I'd say that that's kind of a common story I've heard from a handful of people who've talked to me about conspiracy theories, especially people who are who were exposed to it at a young age, or are currently interested in conspiracy theories. Is that they tend to dive in pretty hard and pretty deep, and especially with the whole going down the YouTube hole, going down the late night kind of research route of the algorithms essentially kind of taking you deeper and deeper and deeper. I'd say that seems pretty common, and in fact on Wednesday's show we're going to get into that with my other guest in regards to the algorithms and their use in kind of perpetuating conspiracy theories. So you said you weren't really particularly interested, or you kind of had to back out of the more world over the last couple of years. So are you familiar at all with sort of some of the more current conspiracy theories, at least in regards to more current political climate, or even COVID-19 or anything like that?
Yeah, I'd say I'm somewhat familiar. I was briefly working with someone that was closely following conspiracy theories surrounding COVID-19.
Mm-hmm.
So I've heard a lot of those kind of secondhand.
Sure.
Yeah, so I'd say I'm aware of them. Yeah.
Okay. And do you, at this point, the ones you've heard, do you find any sort of, I don't want to say belief in them, but do you find them in any way credible, or can kind of see where this person might be coming from and see sort of why they would believe that?
I think, the thing about these theories, at least in my experience from talking to this person, there seems to be, several theories that don't really line up with each other, at least in my mind.
Sure.
That this person would seem to be, seem to have brought in on, the virus doesn't really exist.
Okay.
Or the virus is caused by 5G, or the virus is a bioweapon coming from China. Those are all provocative ideas, but I don't really see how they can all kind of exist in the same reality.
Sure.
And it seems to me like, the current idea that this person had kind of bothered on was just kind of based on the most recent YouTube video that they had watched.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say that sounds about right, to be honest. In doing research for these shows, I turn to YouTube quite a bit. I turn to YouTube probably for every show. I play video clips and different audio clips that I find either interesting or video clips that I feel like kind of illustrate whatever point I'm trying to make, or just kind of elaborate on the particular theory I'm talking about of the night. And I would say that with YouTube, I think they've been trying to do a better job at what I say they've deprioritized a lot of the conspiracy videos or videos just that they deem as spreading misinformation. But I will say that it is still easy to find these videos on YouTube. I can't tell you how many times I've gone down the YouTube rabbit hole, not necessarily because it's super fascinating, but only because it just feels like even though they're deprioritized, YouTube is still pushing you towards the next video, which will be just another person kind of talking about whatever conspiracy theory they're talking about. So it's very easy to fall down that hole. I personally haven't really talked to many people in my circle of friends or family or whatever who fortunately they haven't been sharing any videos like that. I haven't talked to anybody who's particularly interested in these kind of videos, but it is pretty wild to see kind of how widespread YouTube videos and YouTube as a platform has gotten in regards to kind of a place for conspiracy to live. So it doesn't surprise me that this person you talked to sounds like their COVID-19 kind of conspiracy theory probably was birthed from like a YouTube video. It seems like that's pretty common these days.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And, that's the kind of thing that, like, on the one hand, I think it's, I personally think that it's pretty dangerous that, like, these wild ideas can be spread so rapidly. But I also feel like I like the idea that, everyone kind of is able to, create content and, like, share their own voice and perspective. I kind of go back and forth on, this kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I'd say that's kind of the slippery slope with YouTube and conspiracy, where, and kind of like with the show as well, I from the beginning, I wanted it to be a kind of an open forum in regards to, wilder, more like, crazier theories, conspiracy theories, and I wanted it to be kind of just an open forum to talk about these things without it necessarily being a platform. Like, I don't want to present these kind of fantastical ideas as fact, necessarily. And I feel like I think YouTube has been trying to do a better job at not not just kind of pushing these things to the front. But having said that, it's a slippery slope, and it's a fine line to to navigate between giving things a platform and just allowing them to exist as free speech and as that sort of deal. So anyway, but the time is 9:26. So what I'm going to do, Tristan, I'm going to put you on hold again for a few minutes. I'm going to play my song of the night. So if you want to stick around for a little bit longer, we can keep talking. All right.
Absolutely.
All right. So I will be back with Tristan in a hot minute. So tonight, the song of the night. Let's see. Let me get my my notes over here. So tonight, the song of the night is by the band False Figure from Oakland, California. The song's called Relics, and it's from the 2018 album False Figure. So it's 9:27. After the song, the phone lines will be open, 520-704-7820. If you'd like to call in and ask myself or our guest Tristan a question in regards to conspiracy theory, when we get back, I will be getting into more, kind of picking Tristan's brain on some current conspiracy theories and see what they think. So please hold tight. I will be right back. that was False Figure with their song Relics from the 2018 album False Figure. You can find them on Bandcamp at falsefigure.bandcamp.com. They're from Oakland, California, so some Bay Area homies. So if you have any extra cash and you'd like to throw it towards False Figure, they have a handful of releases on their Bandcamp. Please throw them a couple false bones, but please make the money real. Don't throw them false money. Anyway, the time is 9:31. It is open lines if you'd like to call in and talk with Samba over here, as well as my good buddy, my good conspiracy buddy Tristan over here on the phone. Tristan, are you still there?
I'm still here.
All right, so Tristan is still here, and like I said, air quotes Tristan. This is, just protecting their identity. So if you have any questions for myself or Tristan in regards to conspiracy theories or anything, if you just want to ask any other kind of question, phone number for the show is 520-704-7820. It is open lines. Now, before we get back to the meat, I'm going to check on the comments over here. Let's see what people are saying, because it's blowing up. Mary Ellen Rose says, woot woot for the X-Files. So looks like we got an X-Files fan over here, Tristan.
Oh, great.
Yes, I got Quiverlip over here says Taki, and I think they were talking in regards to a comment by Spilt Love says hot take. So whatever you had said at the time was a hot take. Celia says kind of hard to understand the guest, but might be because of another creature in these parts. So, but I haven't heard anyone else say that. So maybe your voice disguising might be doing its job, and so people don't know who's talking.
Yeah. I'm sorry, folks. It's for my own protection.
It's for Tristan's protection. Las Muletas, any thoughts on the judge whose son was murdered? Mary Ellen Rose says they have a suspect and it's effed. Tristan, are you familiar with this story? It's kind of I don't know if it's late breaking, but over the last couple of days there was some headlines about a judge in New Jersey whose son was murdered. There were some shots fired on their property. Are you familiar with this?
No, I'm not.
You're not. Okay. I'm actually not too familiar. I mean, I've read the headlines and stuff, but I didn't get into it too deep. So if anyone on the comments wants to fill us in a little bit on that, or call in and let us know exactly what's going on with the judge in New Jersey and unfortunately the passing of their son. Blob Dordo says hello, Blob Dordo. Eggs and Eyes. This song is great. Yes. I forgot to mention that that this week is kind of I guess it was kind of by choice, but also kind of by accident. I guess I'll call it Death Rock or Goth Punk Week. So yeah, the song tonight and the song on Wednesday will both be by fans or bands in the dark punk, goth punk, I don't know what you call it, dark wave genre. So yes, False Figure, great band. Are you a fan of goth punk or kind of dark wave, Tristan?
Yeah, a little bit.
All right.
I like some bands like that, like Fields of the Nephilim.
Okay, sure.
That's a cool one. The Misfits.
Oh, the Misfits, yes, the most famous of the goth punk bands. Spilt Love, you really Spilt Love says, you really can't have conspiracy theory without conspiracy practice. Thoughts, Ray and Tristan. I don't know who Ray is and quote unquote Tristan, but you can't have theory without a little practice. I would say that that's very true. I guess if you really want to call yourself an expert on something, you got to practice. And theory is just one of those things where you might be able to play the notes, but do you know why you're playing the notes? I guess that's really the question. Trial and Error Collective says, yeah, that song ruled. So another fan of False Figure. So there you go. Trial and Error Collective and Eggs and Eyes. If you want to find them, falsefigure.bandcamp.com. And Spilt_Love. Oops, Samba. Yep, that's my name. Thank you for acknowledging my fun radio name. Anyway, the time is 9:35. So open lines if you have any questions for Tristan or I. Phone number for the show is 520-704-7820. So Tristan, we were talking about. I had mentioned a question in regards to some more current conspiracy theories. So I wanted to ask you. I don't know if you were able to see the video. I had you on hold while the audio was playing, so I don't think you were able to listen. But are you familiar with Liz Crokin at all?
Liz Crokin?
Yes.
No, I can't see your name.
So Liz Crokin is she's a conspiracy theorist, obviously. She used to write for the Chicago Tribune until she was fired, she was fired in 2010. But she, at this point, she considers herself an independent investigator. So she's made the rounds many times in right wing kind of conspiracy circles. She makes a lot of YouTube videos. She's been banned on Twitter. She's made quite a name for herself in kind of conspiracy circles. But she's one of the big proponents of the QAnon conspiracy. Are you familiar with QAnon?
No, I'm not.
Okay, well, you're in for a real treat. So QAnon, without diving too deep into QAnon, because it's a hell of a conspiracy, but it's definitely something that if you troll around, Instagram and Facebook, depending on who you're following, and if I know for me, I don't really see it very many times on Facebook, because most of the people I know don't believe in the QAnon conspiracy, but essentially it is it's a conspiracy that says that there's a secret plot by an alleged deep state against U.S. President Donald Trump and his supporters. Essentially, it's kind of weird that it says that it's against Donald Trump, because most QAnon believers, I think, believe that it's actually for Donald Trump. Essentially, Donald Trump was elected to take down this elite group of pedophiles, and the pedophiles are essentially like every member of the Democratic Party is most likely a deep state pedophile. The entirety of well, I wouldn't say entirety, but most of Hollywood is a pedophile, which
I didn't know it was under like the QAnon term, but I have heard some of it. Is that like some of the people that thought that comic ping pong in BC was like a hub for like a pedophile ring?
Yeah, so
you know about that?
Yeah, you're talking
about like pizza restaurant music thing here in BC.
Yeah.
That yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay.
You're referencing the Pizzagate conspiracy, which was I've mentioned that a few times in the show. I haven't covered it because I don't really know if I particularly want to cover it, because it's it's definitely a giant rabbit hole that involves, for people on the air who don't know, it's a big conspiracy that involves child sex trafficking as well as child torture. It involves Hillary Clinton and John Podesta. It involves adrenochrome, which is a drug that's derived from adrenaline-infused blood of children. So it's a very it's pretty wild, and it's pretty dark. So I wouldn't, I'm not quite ready to. Yeah, I'm definitely not ready to tackle to Pizzagate yet.
Yeah.
But yes, QAnon, it's kind of blowing up in the mainstream, I'd say. In fact, I would say Donald Trump is even though he's never, as far as I know, has never come out and specifically said I'm a believer of QAnon. I stand behind the proponents of QAnon. He's retweeted different tweets from QAnon believers. He's had members who I guess if you could say of right wing kind of conspiracy theorists kind of he's taken pictures with them. He has associated himself with different people in his cabinet who have kind of expressed their belief in QAnon. So it's definitely gaining a lot of traction and a lot of steam. And I don't know. I wanted to get your take on the idea of Donald Trump as a president. He's he's not good. He's not great. He's not a good person. And the fact that as a president, he's sort of dog whistling different people, different right wing conspiracy theorists, and it's very wild to see an American president be so kind of underhanded, but also kind of in your face about him pandering to this kind of crowd. I didn't know if you had any particular takes on that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's so wild how unhinged he is, and yeah, I don't know. I don't really. These are the kinds of conspiracy theories that I just don't like to give a lot of energy to.
Sure.
I'm more interested in like the fun stuff, like the Mandela effect, like coming from CERN, stuff like that. I don't know, like the thing about Donald Trump is just so I really don't know what to say about Donald Trump.
I mean, it's totally fine. It's definitely a giant, like I said, it's a giant rabbit hole. It's a giant, very confusing, very dark, and sort of depressing conspiracy. The idea, the overarching theme of the QAnon conspiracy is essentially that Donald Trump is gonna take down this cabal of satanic pedophiles in the Democratic Party as well as in Hollywood, and their proof is just they're saying that essentially before the end of his term, which will hopefully be in November, he'll have made these mass arrests, and in fact the COVID lockdowns are kind of sort of thinly veiled. I guess you could say the COVID lockdowns are used as a ruse to get people inside their homes to keep them safe while Donald Trump mobilizes the military, to make these arrests. It's pretty wild in the idea, in the fact that there's so many people kind of coming out of the woodwork and really perpetuating these ideas is pretty crazy. In fact, one of the comments I have right now on the chat from Honeycomb Viper says, "Didn't someone affiliated with the NYPD do an interview with a QAnon mug in the background recently?" And yes, that is true. I saw that the other day while I was cruising the interwebs. I'm not sure if it wasn't like the chief of police or anything, I don't believe, but it was someone in one of the higher ups of the NYPD did an interview. I think it was probably with Fox News. And in the back there was a QAnon mug, which those kind of things they're dog whistles. They're essentially kind of there's nothing that's having a QAnon mug in the background of your interview, that's not an accident. That's not that wasn't just, I forgot I left my QAnon mug sitting prominently behind me while I'm doing a chat. That was very much done on purpose. So conspiracy theories like that, even though they're not particularly fun, they are gaining steam, which I think is kind of the scary part about those kind of conspiracies. It kind of boggles the mind to think that we're living in a time where conspiracy theories is jump the fence. It's not for the underground anymore. It's definitely for the mainstream.
Right. Yeah.
It's
just so wild because if there was ever a president that is probably unquestionably a pedophile, it's Donald Trump.
Yeah, that's another thing that I would say that is pretty mind-boggling, as well as with these QAnon conspiracy theories and conspiracy theorists who believe in it. They will make any excuse to kind of excuse Donald Trump's, and his connections with, Jeffrey Epstein, or, all the kind of multiple lawsuits that have been kind of brushed aside with, people coming out and saying that he, sexually harassed them, or even worse than that. So, but they will make any excuse to kind of say that, Donald Trump is one of us, yet they'll, throw the Clintons underneath the bus as part of the the pedophile ring, but Donald Trump isn't part of that, which is again, it's these like mental hoops that people have to jump through to kind of affirm their own beliefs. It's pretty wild.
Totally. Yeah.
So Tristan, I will say with your voice changer, it's disguising your voice so much that it almost sounds like you got like a phaser effect on you. Any way you could lighten the effect a little bit? I don't think anyone knows who you are.
Oh yeah. Let's see what I can do here.
Okay. So folks, I want to thank everyone for tuning in tonight. I have Tristan on the phone. He's I guess at this point you could say he's a former conspiracy, I wouldn't say believer, but enthusiast. He doesn't quite have the, he isn't quite in this conspiracy game anymore, and I don't blame him. I will say that doing research for these shows when it comes to conspiracy theories, it's not a fun topic a lot of times. In fact, these modern conspiracy theories are very much, they're frightening, they're scary, they're dark. The idea that so many people believe these ideas, especially with QAnon, it's not a fun thing to research all the time. So Tristan, are you still there?
Yes, I am.
There he goes again, dropping the voice down so deep, so deep. So hopefully we can. I think I can hear you a little bit better now, but we'll give it a shot again. So I'm gonna go back to the comments a little bit. Eggs and eyes, lol. There's merch. That's it's crazy that these conspiracy theories, especially with QAnon, that someone down the line, while they're disseminating all this inside information on Twitter to their followers, in regards to the elite pedophile ring in the Democratic Party, they also have time to print up mugs and T-shirts, to kind of make some money on the side. Lost Moon let us laughing face. Yes, very funny. Spilt love. More Mandela effect conspiracy theories. Oh, I will ask you about the Mandela effect in just 1 second, Tristan. Mary Ellen Rose Zoom pranks though. Are you talking about the video calling thing, Zoom pranks? Spilt love, less right-wing curated conspiracies. All right, we'll get into the fun conspiracies now for a second. Mary Ellen Rose, is there a conspiracy that Tristan still holds that I'm assuming that Tristan still thinks holds true? A favorite? And Phone TV World, hello Phone TV World, first time listener. Sounds good, Tristan. So yeah, Tristan, is there a particular conspiracy that you a fun conspiracy that you think is potentially true?
Well, yeah, I think that there are a lot of conspiracy theories that are true, and the thing that's so kind of like weird and frustrating about conspiracy theories is that there obviously have been conspiracies throughout history. Conspiracies have always, there have always been conspiracies. But like now with the internet, you can kind of make a conspiracy to sort of, suit whatever, you want to believe or whatever you believe, or to kind of condemn whoever you want to condemn.
Mm-hmm.
So it just kind of like, I don't know, it adds a stigma to all conspiracies, which is kind of frustrating. But I don't believe we went to the moon. I believe in like the moon landing hoax conspiracy.
Okay.
I just don't buy it.
Sure.
It's like before most people had color TV, we were apparently, cruising through, all the radiation and everything.
Sure, yeah.
I just don't buy it.
Sure. So on the show last week, I had a couple episodes in regards to Tom DeLonge, former guitar player and one of the songwriting duo of Blink-182, and he's definitely gone a different direction in his career lately. He started To the Stars and kind of his investigations of the UFO agenda and the UFO phenomena. His
Right.
belief in regards to the moon landing is that it did happen. But the real story is that while up there, the astronauts actually had contact with a UFO. They said that they saw some sort of alien creatures in a crater when they landed on the moon, and that there's bases on the dark side of the moon. Are you familiar with that? And do you potentially think that's true?
I'm not familiar with that, but that's very interesting. I'll definitely look into it. But no, I just think the evidence against the moon landing is just too convincing.
Mm-hmm.
And frankly, it's just so much more fun.
Yeah.
To imagine Stanley Kubrick in the set filming the moon landing.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you about Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah, and like all the clues that he put in The Shining about it.
Okay, yeah.
Just to me, that just makes so much sense.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard a lot of different reasons why we'd fake the moon landing. One of those being that we didn't quite have the know-how or the technology to get our people on the moon, and so instead of losing the space race, we hired Stanley Kubrick to fake it while we sort of caught up technology-wise to eventually be able to get out into space. But I guess this begs a larger question. Do you believe we've actually been to space though?
Sure. Yeah. No, I think we've been to space.
Okay.
But yeah, like the idea of America just being so petty and having our priorities like so out of whack just makes so much sense to me. Like we just have to be Russia to the moon at all costs, even if we don't actually do it.
Sure.
So yeah, there's that one. I've kind of believed that ever since I was a kid. But yeah, the whole thing concerning the Mandela effect being related to CERN, which is the European, organization of like scientists.
Mm-hmm.
There's like 23 different countries who are members, and 23 is a significant number there. They have the world's largest machine, which is the Large Hadron Collider, that they started operating in 2010. That's just like a particle collider.
Yeah.
The idea is that those experiments, smashing those particles together, created such, incredible energy that it, created a portal or many portals, and it just kind of like knocked us into like different dimensions. And that's why, people are experiencing different, slightly different realities or different details in their realities.
A la the Mandela effect. Is that what you're alluding to?
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. Like, things like, the Berenstain Bears, or, the balloon and the Fruit of the Loom logo being gone.
Yeah.
Or, the cornucopia.
Yeah.
But yeah, stuff like that. And you know what? That just feels right to me.
Okay. Sure. So what I actually have is I have a video. It's an old man, a definitive proof of the world ending in 2012. So what I want to do is I'm going to play a little portion of that video and maybe get your take on it, as we have about 7 minutes left on the stream. So I want to get your quick take on this before we say bid adieu to the audience. If you just want to bear with me for a second, all right?
Sounds good.
Hello. So, somebody said something in a video I was watching, and I've been thinking about it quite a bit. Regarding this Mandela effect, in relation to the Mayan calendar ending in 2012. Maybe the world did end. The world that we lived in. Not physically, but it ended in the fact that we're not living on it anymore. I think we are living on a different world. I seen another video where there are animals I've never seen before. This round-nosed dolphin, for one thing, looked like had the nose of a humpback whale or something.
There you go. So that was a video I pulled from the old YouTube. It was called, I believe, something like "Definitive Proof That the World Ended in 2012." What do you think of that?
You know, it's a feeling I can definitely relate to. I hope that he was, I don't know, being safe when he was driving there. Yeah, you know, I wonder what kind of dolphin he was referencing. If it was a porpoise, like I remember there being a porpoise when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, part of the idea is that maybe some people kind of shifted dimensions and others didn't. So that would explain why some people have different memories than others. So maybe he, you know, was in a slightly different reality where purposes didn't exist.
Sure.
But I don't really know. But I don't know. I feel like conspiracies like that, I can just jive with a lot more than the ones that have to do with, I don't know, focusing a lot of like just antisocial like hate towards a certain group of people.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's like the problem with a lot of conspiracy theories is it can kind of just become like I don't know, like a safety net for just you know, refusing any sort of accountability
Mm-hmm.
for, you know, and it's like blaming everything that's wrong in the world on, you know, people that maybe you don't understand or things that you don't understand.
Yeah.
But in terms of just like questioning reality itself, like I think that can be actually a beautiful thing.
Yeah. So we have about 3 minutes left in the stream. I do want to get to a few comments real quick as we blow through these comments because there's been a lot. Spilt Love says, "Girl at the Rock Show is actually about Tom DeLonge's alien abduction." Wow, I have never heard that before, and honestly, now that I think back to that song, I can hear it now in my head. That sounds like the truth right there. I'm gonna put that song on as soon as I get off the air and really pick it apart. Blob Dordo says hollow. I'm assuming you're referring to the moon. Blob Dordo. Yes, that is another conspiracy that the moon is just is a hollow moon that we launched a nuke at it. It blew up and it rang like a bell. So that's definitely a conspiracy. Eggs and Eyes. I think we went, but it wasn't the highly applauded televised expedition we all know of. I think the TV event was faked and we went quietly later. That kind of goes hand in hand with the idea that Kubrick might have faked it for the benefit of the space race. Phone TV World, the first mission was definitely fake, but we've gone since. So another first mission was faked. Later we went. Spilt Love, do you think Homer Simpson really went to space? The answer is yes, he did go into space. Benjamin, hello Benjamin. How else would we have our insect overlords? You mean the Illuminati? Or they're not really the reptilians? I guess they're the reptiles, not insects, but yes, our insect overlords. And then let me get to one more comment. Let's see, because we do have to get off.
I mean, yeah.
Eggs and Eyes. How like a ton of conspiracies lead back to just weird anti-Semitism, so bizarre and uncool. Yes, in my research, it almost always comes down to the nefarious Jews running everything. That's definitely a through line with a ton of different conspiracies. conspiracies. Anyway, so I have about a minute left on the stream. Tristan, thank you for joining the show tonight. I hope you're staying safe out there. I hope the voice changing is going to keep your anonymity a secret, and I welcome you back on the show anytime.
Well, I'd love to come back. And I really appreciate you having me. And I want to thank everyone who commented tonight and who listened tonight. Thank you so much. It was a lot of fun.
No problem. Thank you again. Anyways, that was Tristan on the phone. So anyway, I'll be back on Wednesday with another guest. We're going to be talking about conspiracy theories. And yes, so please, everybody stay safe out there. COVID-19 is still doing its thing. If you have any questions, phone number for the show is 520-704-7820. If you'd like to call, phone lines are always open. Please stay safe out there. Social distance if you can. Wear a mask. And remember, it is a weird, weird world. Take care.